You know how there's something important you have been meaning to do, but work just keeps getting in the way. Deadlines pile up, emails won't stop coming, your calendar is fully booked, fully packed. And somehow, the thing you know you should do, something as simple as going to the dentist, keeps getting pushed to another day, another week, and so on. Well, that was me. For weeks, I'd been telling myself I really need to go see a dentist. Like, I really, really need to. But every time I thought about it, something else seemed more urgent. Work meetings, personal errands, random tasks that suddenly feel extremely important. Looking back now, I think those things were just distractions. But then, one day, something strange happened. I didn't plan it, I didn't schedule it. I just closed my laptop, grabbed my bag, and decided today is the day. No appointment, no confirmation, just determination. And honestly, it felt reckless because if you have ever walked into a clinic without an appointment, you would know how it ends up. Yes. Halfway to the clinic, doubt started creeping in. It was already afternoon, and the place I was going to wasn't just a clinic, it also functioned as a dental school. That meant students, training sessions, scheduled patients, a whole structured system. The chances of walking in randomly and seeing a dentist was very slim. I was already imagining a crowded waiting room in my head, but at that point, I was already in a cab and more than halfway to the place. So there was no turning back at this point. So we moved. When I finally arrived, I pushed open the door, expecting chaos. But instead, I was greeted by silence. The waiting room was almost empty. No long line, no long queue, no stressed staff running around. Just one woman sitting quietly in her corner, feeding her child. I stood there for a moment thinking, waiting to happen for you. Am I early or is something wrong? I approached the woman and asked who I should speak to, and she pointed to a door with a small peephole. So I walked towards the door and peeked inside. There was no one there. The room was empty. At that moment, I thought, well, I shouldn't have come in the first place. But I decided to wait anyways, just in case. A few minutes later, I noticed movement behind the door. Finally, someone had arrived. I walked up and asked politely if there was any chance I could see a dentist. The woman barely looked up. Her eyes were fixed on the papers in front of her as she replied, "Come back tomorrow." That was it. No explanations, no eye contact, just come back tomorrow. I try not to read too much meaning into people's body language. Yeah, I make excuses for people. Maybe she was exhausted. Maybe she had a terrible day. Or maybe she had dealt with 50 or more than 50 people asking the same question. But her message was clear and her tone was final. So I walked back to the waiting area and sat down because honestly, I needed a moment. And I was not ready to step back into the hot afternoon sun just yet. And the thought of coming back another day felt so exhausting. It had already taken a lot from me just showing up that day. I was just about to leave when I heard a cheerful voice. I turned around to see where the voice was coming from. There was a woman, probably in her late 40s or early 50s, talking to someone. And the energy she brought into that room was it was magnetic. She was encouraging the man to keep to his next appointment. She offered to help him collect his receipt from the cashier. She spoke with warmth and enthusiasm, like someone who genuinely cared. She wasn't wearing a lab coat. or scrubs or even a badge. Nothing that indicated she was a doctor or a nurse. But she carried herself with so much confidence and presence that it felt like she belonged everywhere in that clinic. And something inside me said, that's the person you should talk to. So I approached her, half expecting her to say she was just a visitor or maybe a volunteer. But instead, something amazing happened. Within minutes of speaking to this woman, I was sitting face to face with a dentist. Yes, a real consultation the same day, no appointments, no waiting list, nothing. And then it even got better. After a quick examination, the doctor recommended a procedure. At that point, I thought, here we go again. I'll be scheduled for next week or even next month. But no, the procedure was done right there, immediately, just like that. I walked into that clinic expecting rejection, and I walked out having solved a problem I had been postponing for months, all because of one person, that cheerful woman, who, by the way, turned out to be the receptionist. Yes, she was the receptionist. And that's when something clicked in my mind. In many places, we think influence belongs only to people with big titles, doctors, managers, executives. But sometimes the real engine of a place is someone else entirely. The person who connects people, the person who notices things, the person who makes things happen. It could be the gate man, it could be the cleaner, it could be the errand boy, someone whose role or title you could easily ignore. That receptionist wasn't just doing a job, she was bridging gaps, helping patients, students, doctors, and all, keeping the whole place flowing, running smoothly. As I sat there recovering from the dental procedure, I kept watching her interact with people. She gave same positive energy to everyone. It was almost as if the clinic functioned better just because she was there. And it reminded me of something very important. Some people don't wear capes, they don't make headlines, but every single day, they quietly make life easier for others. They create small miracles for others. She was a reminder that warmth and kindness still exist, even in places where bureaucracy and indifference usually takes over. Before I left the clinic, of course, I thanked this angel of mine and I spent some time chatting with her. I wasn't just looking forward to my next dental appointment. I was looking forward to seeing her again. Yes. Not because I would need her help, but because some people simply make the world feel lighter. Now I'm curious. Have you ever met someone like that? A stranger whose kindness unexpectedly changed your day, or maybe even changed your life? Tell me your story in the comments. I would genuinely love to hear it. And if this story reminded you of how powerful small acts of kindness can be, I want you to be that person to other people. Sometimes, the smallest encounters leave the biggest impact. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel, The Virtual Insights, and please also visit our website, thevirtualinsights.com, for more stories and experiences like this. I'll see you again in my next video. Bye.